All right, so holy shit, man. I just read it was called okay. Hold on, dude. Let me lower my microphone vault cuz I just read my own story that I made almost 3 years ago now, and I really didn't expect cuz you guys, this is for members only right now, but you guys voted on the poll for me to review my own comic, right? And so I went back and it's called Gnar Wallshire, and I decided no, this is kind of a public comic. You can join my personal Discord server and read the entire thing if you wish to. And man, what the fuck? It was actually good. Like I came in with the thoughts of being as critical as possible, because the last thing I wanted to say is I did good on something that I wrote like 3 years ago. And I think I can do better than that still. Like the story would have been way better, like for example, if I planned it out. And I have a personal story called 500 Years that I'm working on that's just even in these planning phases is already so much better. And with the tests I made, it's just a better story than Gnar Wallshire, I would say. And it's also more accessible to more people. But holy shit, dude, I did not expect to leave my own work and be like, wow, like 17-year-old me actually did good. That shit was actually good. I fucking hate saying that. You know why? I just said why I hate saying that. Because I made it. You know how narcissistic that sounds? I can't open the video and be like, yeah, I did something good. Yeah, my story's good. I can't do it. It's also kind of fucking with me right now, It's like, fuck, that story made me feel things, man. It has to be because here's the thing too. I always disregarded it. A long time ago, for example, when I reread it, and like, I want to say like maybe a year ago or so, when the story was first a year old, I was like, this story is boring. It has too many words and the pacing is weird. And I still have my issues with it. Like, for example, a lot of the pacing is pretty weird, but look, none of my members read Gnar Wallshire, so let me go ahead and, because you guys definitely don't know what it is, but it is a personal comic that I made to test if I can create a story with serious subject matter. And it was pretty personal to me at the time. I made it when I was 17 years old through 18, and I made it in 10 months, and I did not plan really, aside from generally what's going to happen. I didn't plan any dialogue. I didn't make any like real rough sketches for what's gonna happen. I basically just flowed. And it's a rough draft right now, and it never will be finished because it's a LGBT story, and I don't rock with that. So, but nonetheless, it's still I think it's actually good. Most of my issues come with the starter part, because there are anthropomorphic. I should just explain what it actually is first. So I'll have the link to the server if you want to actually check it out yourself and see if you agree with me, because shit, man, I thought that was pretty good. I really hate saying that, man. I came in trying to be as negative as possible. This is old work, for crying out loud. I shouldn't like it. I shouldn't feel anything for it. But I'm like, this is solid and I can do better now. And it's like, I can't stop thinking about that, man. Fuck, that story actually moved me. Oh, gosh. I'm gonna sound like a narcissist. Fuck, I don't want to sound like a narcissist, man. What is Gnar Wallshire? So, Gnar Wallshire was a personal story I made during the part where I was confused about my own sexuality. And so I wanted to go on ahead and write about my own experience with the sexuality through an extremely serious lens. Gnar is a self-insert, but he's slightly different from me. He's not a good guy, he's a liar a lot of the time. And because he's confused about his sexuality, he wants to know about who he is, he ends up dating this guy named Arthur. Arthur is a extremely creepy 25-year-old man. And they end up going out and all this other stuff. And Arthur is just horrible to Gnar, man. He's really bad to this guy. And at school, he ends up talking to this other girl that he's known for a while named Haley. And Haley, oh my gosh, I cucked her character so bad. Oh my gosh, I messed her character up so bad, bro. Oh, what was wrong with 17-year-old me? God, she could have been so much better. What was I thinking? Fuck, dude. Here, look. Dude, you can tell I'm just, like, emotionally kicked by that story, bro. I didn't expect it to be that good. Oh, what the fuck? It has to be because I made it. That's why I think it's good. But it doesn't make any sense. I literally hate Purgatory, and I made that too a long time ago. I hate Monkey VB. I hate a lot of my old work. I hate Smart Gag Show, but why do I like this? But anyway, Haley gets cucked, but what happens is that he ends up also dating this girl named Haley because, again, he's confused about his sexuality. He wants to find out what he is, and he starts dating her because he finds her cute, but not really in that way, you know, because it's about sexuality confusion. And, man. So he ends up dating Haley while he's dating Arthur, and then that ends up really backfiring in his face. And he ends up having a breakdown where Haley leaves him, and, you know, of course these are spoilers. I mean, you should. I actually do suggest you check out Gnar Wallshire, man. What the hell, dude? That story actually kicked me in the shins. Here's the thing about it, though. It has a lot of flaws. For one, it is a rough draft. This means that it's all made by pencil and paper, and it's all in my Discord server, which is a very unnatural way to read things, and some things are just out of order. You know, only by the end did I start actually scanning the story. And also, my handwriting is really fucking bad. It's really bad. There are some parts where even I struggle to read what's going on. So if you want to check it out, that's cool. And I also would suggest checking out the rewrites. But what made this story so good in my opinion? Now, I want to talk about its weaknesses because I don't like talking about the strengths when it comes to my own work. That makes me sound narcissistic. And so, what are its weaknesses? Of course, as I was saying, it's a rough draft. It's all by, you know, pen and paper. Not even pen, just pencil and paper. And two, I don't think things drag a lot. I think that some scenes are too slow, actually. And there are a lot of, in the start, there are quite a few tonal shifts that feel a little bit unnatural. One is when, so Gnar has a sister named Arsis. She's actually based off of my real sister. And she comes in after she finds out Gnar lies about something. And then she's like, this is one of the weirdest. You know, whenever I make these, I expect people to know the source material that I'm talking about, at least a little bit, to be familiar. But none of you could have possibly known this. And it's a short story, too. I took 5 hours out of my day to read this. Just as a break, and I was, like, captivated, man. But Arsis finds out she's lying, and then previously it was kind of jokey a little bit, but then it suddenly gets really serious, which kind of feels a little wrong. And then there's also this scene where Arthur yells at Gnar, and that feels like super dark. I think that mostly in like early to mid the story gets too dark. Like I go too far with some of this stuff early to mid of the story, but like I'd say by like chapter 2 part 2 I can control the tonal management a bit better. So the story's still dark, right? It's still messed up, but something like the ending doesn't feel nearly as messed up to an incredible degree than the start. But the start was basically there so that you could get who Arthur is, so you can be characterized. I still think I did go too far in some places with that one though. I went too far in some places, really. And also I think that generally everyone is this is more in the start, I would say everyone is too raunchy. And I make certain references and jokes that most people wouldn't get. Shit like for example, I reference falling in reverse quite a bit in chapter 1 part 2. And I reference their album Coming Home, and I make little parodies of these. The only way that you would even know that is if you're a Falling in Reverse fan. Fact of the matter though is that not that many people, especially people who would read a story like this, are Falling in Reverse fans. On top of this, you know, Arthur is a groomer. This is the core of the story, is that Gnar is being groomed by Arthur, and Arthur's fucking up his life and fucking up his mental. So when he dates Haley and Arthur at the same time, it's like there's a lot of aspects to it. There's a sexual confusion aspect. That's why he dates Haley, but he never makes any moves on her or anything because he's still confused about who he is. I'd say the biggest flaws though are probably with Haley, because I characterized her like too aggressively. Like she's really, man, I made her a complete jerk, dude, at the very start, and I didn't give us enough time to really care about Haley later on in the story. I think I really should have, given her more time to actually breathe as a person. And are you fucking kidding me? Another guy on a scooter outside is just on a what is that called? A motorbike. Whatever, dude. Anyway, back, as you can tell, I'm tweaking a little bit because like that story did hit me. I'm going to just highlight. I really want to make this video because I actually did pretty good on the story, not gonna lie, and it feels so narcissistic to explain why. But there's so many other flaws too. I really could have cut down on the dialogue, man. I think I could, but all of it's pretty important. All of it characterizes the characters, but things could have just been shorter. Although if they were shorter, I think the pacing would have been too fast, because my main inspiration when I made this was Scott Pilgrim and BoJack Horseman. That's what I was inspired by to make this, and my own personal experience at the time with my sexual confusion. So yeah, again, as a Christian, I don't have any more sexual confusion. Like, I just like women, but at the time I was struggling with those kind of thoughts. And man, I don't know. Shit, this is just hard to talk about. I'll highlight two scenes that really hit me. Again, I do suggest you check it out, even if you're not interested in the subject matter. It's very niche. That's why I didn't really post this anywhere. And I also didn't want to be known for it or anything at the time, because, the story is about grooming. And it gets really dark in some places. And it's like, do I really want to be known as the guy who made the furry comic where the kid gets groomed? If I were to post this and it were to actually pop off and people enjoyed it? My answer at the time was no. My answer is still no. I would rather not be known by that. And besides, again, I can already make better. But a scene that really affected me was, I'm going to say, probably Chapter 1, Part 3's scene where Arthur and Gnar, Arthur's, by the way, the groomer, Gnar is the main character. Arthur basically breaks down and starts screaming at Gnar because he won't have sex with him. Arthur's an overly hypersexual freak, and he gets attached to Gnar way too fast, which makes him uncomfortable. And then he says something before they're actually about to do it, and then he rejects him. So that makes him uncomfortable, so he rejects him, and then Arthur just starts tweaking. Like, dude, that shit made me so fucking uncomfortable. Let me read one of the... I'm actually going to go up and read one of the lines. Hold on. Bro, this line was so fucking crazy. How did 17-year-old me make this, like, on a whim? What the fuck was I on? I'm gonna just show you this shit. This is crazy shit. So he's crying about how he wants him. Dude, this is so gross. Oh my gosh. Even if it's only been 3 days, I already only want you. And if you really love me or cared, then you would have already been with me for me. And then Gnar thinks this is really, really fucking weird. Also, big criticism. This comic curses way too much and uses the name of God in a swear word way too much. This comic curses way too much. I did not know how to use curse words back then, and I'd argue I still don't. I think I'm still pretty bad at cursing. I always try to get better, but this comic, that's why I don't ever use cursing in like I'll never use cursing in Blood's Pretty. I'll never use cursing in any other project that I make after this, because I don't know how to use it. These words are too powerful, and especially as a 17-year-old, I don't know how to use it. Maybe I'll use it in casual conversation because that's just how people work. But anyway, Gnar thinks this is really, really fucking weird. Arthur, I don't want to do that any. And by the way, this is like after like, this is page 129. So this is like over 100 pages of him tweaking and shit, or not tweaking, but him like trying to push him to this. It's only been day 3. The line that was fucking with me the most was this one. I'm so fucking pathetic that I creep out my own boyfriend to the point that he won't fuck me. What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, that's crazy. Ah, shit. this one's really hard to talk about, dude. I think I'm gonna have to do like a summary of the whole story. I think that's the best thing I could do, so people could actually get what's going on. But holy shit, Gnar Wallshire. I thought this was boring at one point. This is crazy. This story is crazy. Oh yeah, another criticism. I think it's too blunt a lot of the time. Like, it gets more subtle later, but at the start, it's really blunt. I think the start is really where it's not. I think the start is where it's like mid. But then like after like chapter 2, part 2, it like gets way better. And the bonus chapters are generally way worse than the actual work. That's why I generally remade almost all the bonus chapters. But shit, I don't even know what to say, dude. How can I give you immediate thoughts on a story that you definitely have never read or seen? Shit, I'll just talk about the characterization, I suppose. I'll do Gnar and Arthur right here. I'll do other characters later, but Gnar is characterized to be, I don't even remember what the fuck my thought process was for this, dude. This was 3 years ago I made this. I feel like a different person made this shit. Gnar was, it is like, gosh, it feels like someone totally different made this. Oh my gosh, it's so weird. Yeah, I made it though, what? Huh. But Gnar is characterized to be an extreme overthinker. This guy will overthink everything basically. And he's also kind of passive a lot of the time, very calm, and I'd say he's very blunt. But Gnar's biggest thing is that he lies a lot. Because he's dating a 25-year-old man, he obviously doesn't want to, you know, let people know about that. And just the lies get worse and worse when he starts dating Haley. The entire thing with Haley is literally a lie. So you end up disliking Gnar, but because of his sexual confusion, if you can sympathize with that, you kind of don't hate him. Like, I'd say he's not very hateable. He's literally in the situation being groomed by a 25-year-old man for odd sexual favors and shit, and like all this other weird shit. You know, Arthur, he's very manipulative. He's a flat. I know I intentionally made him flat. That's what I do remember that. I intentionally made him a flat character because the whole thing with Gnar too, with him being with Arthur, he's with Arthur both because he's attracted to him and because he thinks that he can actually fix Arthur from being, you know, this over sexual freak who like makes him uncomfortable all the time and breaks his boundaries and all this other disgusting stuff. And so because Gnar thinks that, he ends up staying with Arthur before it ends up becoming Gnar slowly gaining more and more resentment to Arthur because of all the bad stuff Arthur does to Gnar. He pushes his boundaries constantly. He basically ignores what Gnar actually wants, and Arthur basically sees Gnar as kind of like this weird like sex object. That's it. And Gnar, it's fucked up because Gnar also sees him like that too. He's with Arthur for sexual purposes. He likes Haley because of her personality. In fact, in the end, when, you know, they end up breaking up because Haley finds out, and then Haley is just like, "No, you need to tell me. I need closure on this." And he basically just breaks it. He straight up says, "I was with you for a relationship, but I was with Arthur for sexual purposes." And before, he was about to hide that too, so he's gonna lie again. Oh my gosh, bro! I need to write like actual analysis for this shit, and then maybe I can talk about my thought process at the time. But I don't remember that. Like, I made this, but I don't remember my thought process at the time. Not really. Shit. I just made this, again, I made this for practice, and I'm just like, wow, this is, for the billionth time, I actually recommend you check this one out. Like, I'll leave a link to my server. It's called Gnar Wallshire, and I have rewrites and stuff like that, and you can check that out, man. It is very introspective. We get a lot in Gnar's head, and oh man, that shit actually just, especially the ending. Okay, fine. I think I already talked about the ending where Arthur finally kind of wins, but nah, that shit is moving. And if you are like a person who like is interested in the LGBTQ stuff, I'm not interested in that. I don't like it. But this story still actually affected me. I was like, I'm probably not gonna like it because it's LGBT, right? You know, that's not really my lane, but it didn't really matter. I didn't mind that. It was just interesting. How did I think this was boring when I was 17 or like 18 or 19? Why did I not want to read this? I'm telling you, check this shit out. You'll have a little like early chance to check this shit out, bro. Because my gosh, it's actually pretty solid. And for the billionth time, I hate saying that because that makes me sound like a narcissist or something. But this is better than I remember. I remember this being boring. I remember this being too many words. I remember it only being good at the end. And it gets way better near the end because I actually know what I'm doing by that point. But generally, it's pretty good. It goes, of course, obvious warnings, dude. This is literally a comic, LGBT, by the way, if you're not a fan of that. It's an LGBT comic about grooming. It gets pretty fucking sexual, and everything is framed neutrally. So it's like nothing in the story actually tells you that anything that's happening is wrong. All you get is Gnar's thoughts afterwards. So there are points where Gnar is just like okay with it, and then Arthur's just like okay with it. Like Gnar, that's what made me uncomfortable when I was reading this. It was like, why, like, Gnar is just okay with this? Like, this is a 25-year-old and 17-year-old. What the fuck? And he's just like okay with it, or like he goes through something and he doesn't leave, and it's like, what the hell? Like, didn't he just do that to you? Dude. What the fuck? Check it out. Obviously, warning, if you're sensitive to grooming, if you're sensitive to being the idea of being cheated on, which I would understand, that sounds really bad. If you're sensitive to child abuse, don't read this, but read it if you want. And also in that same server, I have plenty of other stories that I created, because boy, did I make a lot of stories. Gosh, I made a lot of freaking stories. Wallshire just happens to be my currently best finished one. My currently best story right now is 500 years, but this is my currently best finished one. Check it out if you want. If you can read it, you know, check it out, man. I don't know.